It's Thursday on YourView. Welcome to the show. I am Morayo Afolabi Brown. As always, I have the ladies with me. Mariam Lunge, how you doing?
I'm fine. A bit cold this morning, but I'm fine. Yesterday, I had a book reading, and it was really nice to see those kids. And I had a very beautiful encounter. I saw someone I hadn't seen in a long time. Aww. It was really lovely. Yes, that's how I spent yesterday.
Oh, nice. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe they should turn off the air.
Please do.
All right. So, how you doing?
I'm very good. I loved what you wore yesterday for the book reading. I love what you're wearing right now.
I
need to celebrate. I saw it on WhatsApp in the story.
Okay.
In the story.
How come you don't put some pictures?
I do eventually, but at the time I
didn't say story. Okay, I'll go check it.
That's for the few minutes visual, then eventually put on your feed.
Okay, nice. How you doing, Topsy?
I'm very good. Grateful to God for life. So I sent a few of my staff to do some trainings, and they're now buzzing with ideas. Everybody is like gingered and contributory, good. And I really like it. I'm like, you see, that's why you should be attending trainings. You need to read. Sometimes you might not have any idea in your head, and you need to be creative to forge ahead. Then you read a book and it inspires you, or you attend a course. We're 7 now.
Nice.
Very soon you'll be.
You'll be
very soon you move from S to M. Small and medium. Intermediate.
That's good. Very easy.
Yes, it's easy.
How you doing, BC?
I'm doing amazing.
Love your nails.
Thank you.
These are real?
Yeah, my natural nails. These are really
Oh, Lord. People pay for that, man. How you doing?
I'm fine, no. I'm just observing the dollar going up. You know, our business is largely imported now. We want to look like a Euro women.
The pressure was...
Honestly, and I was keeping this cash because I wanted to ramp up most of my products, then travel myself, go to either Vietnam or China to get something. And I've been keeping the money. If I had known, I would have just stocked up. Because right now, the money is looking at me and it's looking useless. Because if I go back to buy now, it's double. I have to review some prices. I'm sorry, but I just have to.
Everybody's saying due to the dollar increase,
I'm telling you, we have to review.
But there's not even don't blame them. It's not like they're buying. People are buying at 710. It's just valuation.
Yes. Bits of later.
How you doing?
I'm doing well. It's Thursday. I'm going to be working with my madam today. So I'm going to be there. I'm pretty excited.
Maria's life is very compartmentalized. Like it's a Monday for this one, Tuesday for this person, Wednesday this kind of job.
Organized like that. Yes. Let's go on a break. When we come back, we go through the front pages of the papers. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Okay, we're going to start with the nation. Senate in stormy session over renewed attacks by bandits. Judge sends human rights lawyer to prison. Varsity strike, Labour, ASU adamant. Oshun NAF partner on aviation city. Rising aviation fuel price forces airlines to cut flights. Governors reject water resources bill. And bakers seek suspension of government fees on bread. Finally, Oyo government reinstates 129 sacked teachers. Okay, which story are we starting with?
I'll talk about the teachers.
Okay.
So in Oyo State, the Oyo government has reinstated 129 public primary school teachers who were unlawfully sacked by the previous administration. So this was said by the executive chairman, State Universal Basic Education Board, Dr. Nureni Adenira. He made this statement yesterday in Ibadan. And he said that one of the reasons they were able to get to this consensus was the fact that the teachers agreed not to demand for arrears for the time that they were away. And so they just had to ease them back into office. And this is more like trying to support them, aside from the fact that they are dwindling teachers in the primary school sector. A lot of people who were sacked were breadwinners of their family, and this would give them something to look forward to. And they were just lauding the government for doing this.
Okay, so one of our house, I would say, one of the lawyers we've invited over a few times on the show was sentenced to 1 month in prison by Chief Judge of Akwa Ibom State Justice Ekaite Obot. He had Yeah, in prison. Is a Lagos-based activist, Mr. Inibehe Effiong, so 1 month in prison because he said that she's sending him to jail to purge himself of his insolence, dishonorable acts that tend to bring the court to disrepute. According to you, there's a current case of libel instituted by Akwa Ibom State Governor Udom Emmanuel against Elio Ekpeyong, and this our activist friend is defending Ekpeyong, and obviously he's known to be a bit of a troublemaker, but so I guess he took his trouble to Akwa Ibom, and the chief just said, please, you have to stay in jail. But he said he did nothing wrong, according to him. He said that I think Justice Uber has really been patient with him all this while, but he didn't do anything wrong, and that he feels that justice is not being served on him, and it's been unfair. So he's going to try to, he's been waiting for some kind of appeal to be done, but nothing yet, because so far he's still going to jail for a whole month. He said, I'll be going to the Uyo Correctional Center now. I've not done anything wrong. I wasn't even given an opportunity to say anything before the conviction. And he wasn't happy about that. But, you know,
and I was really looking forward to hearing, you know, both sides of the argument. Because I thought, from when we first heard it, it looked like it was something that was done unjustly. But now, I haven't read what you have read. Looks like he deserved to go. I don't know yet. Anyway, let me take the Association of Master Bakers and Caterers of Nigeria, the FCT chapter. They're asking, okay, so they had gone on strike. I think it was a 4-day strike. And they're about to suspend that strike, but they're asking that the government should temporarily suspend all government fees, levies, and taxes on bread business, and also the suspension of duties on importation of bakery equipment and input, and just to help ensure the sustainability of the business. Remember, their grounds, they're saying that there's just so much duties, levies, fees on this business, especially at such a time that they're struggling. And we know how important bread is to the Nigerian economy. So they're asking government to suspend all that. And then they made a good point. They say that many other countries have started adopting different sources to bread flour production. Say some countries are using sweet potato, corn, cassava. And so Nigeria should look into things like that.
And cassava flour that was launched by the former president.
Yes,
he ate the bread safe, and then suddenly
so they are asking that government should look into that particular one. And then they say localize industries for production of butter, oil, sugar, and other essential ingredients for production. I mean, it's sad that we have to say it, but really, with all the cows and the milk and the butter we get from,
somebody
could have a whole industry.
Once you create the incentive, people, private sector would move in and produce it. I want to take the water resources.
I wanted to address something I just said, the Akwa Ibom story. So let me tell you what the lawyer did, because you raised that. He had applied that the judge should be withdrawn from the case for alleged bias.
Okay.
And she now threw him out of the court. So she said that she lashed out at him, saying that because of what he said, you know, so she lashed out at him and told him that I'll remove your robe from you and I'll put you in prison. And that's exactly what she did. So
you said that he didn't have the right to ask for her to.
So yeah, so he's alleging that she might be biased because this is a case against the governor. So the guy is defending himself against the governor of the state, and the governor was instituted a case of libel against him. So it could be seen in that ways. All right, take your story.
Yeah, so water resources bill has been a very controversial bill, back and forth, and now it's about to be signed into law. And the governors, all 36 governors, in a teleconference said no to the bill, that they don't disagree entirely with the bill, but they've raised their concerns, and their concerns haven't been addressed in this bill, and they don't want it to get signed, and then they're having to go through a long process of redress, that right now the bill should not be signed. The bill should be reviewed in view to accommodate the concerns of all states. Now, the Minister for Water Resources, Malam Suleiman Adamu, has branded the people against this new law as adversaries to the nation. But I think that if 36 governors say that there is something wrong with the new bill, it should be reviewed. Part of what the bill contains, according to what I read in the paper this morning, is that digging of borehole needs to be licensed. Now, the first concern is, why would they license borehole? You're not giving us private water. Why can't we dig borehole? But they are saying because this water underground, we don't know the number of boreholes being dug per state, per local government. Everybody just indiscriminately digging borehole, and some are even bottling the water and commercializing and selling it back to us. That if you are bottling water from a borehole to commercialize and you're making money from it, you should pay different taxes for access to the water that is free to all. Anyway, the information.
I know, and also health-wise, because
yes, there's environmental impact that we're not taking concern. We're not taking cognizance of because it's indiscriminately being done. There are two sides to the story, but
sweetheart, so you buy land, did not buy the water under the land you bought. Is that what they're trying to tell us?
It's the land.
Okay, moving on quickly to Punch. Let's see how much time I have. The Punch. I saw fear spreads. Presidency senators clash over impeachment threat. ASU, Labour continues protest, slams politicians again. Lagos woman with stillbirth steals Oyo benefactor's baby. We took that story yesterday. Studying in distress, sad. Tales of Ogun forgotten school children. We can still take it again. Banker, robber as gunmen, waylay bullion van. Can't opposition to Muslim ticket, godly says Dogara. Subsidy probe reps say 23 oil firms unknown. And review water bill, states governor tells lawmakers. Let me take the major headline because it's quite scary. So a lawmaker, let me see, the representing Senator representing the FCT, Philip Aduda of the PDP, raised the point of order that the Senate should deliberate on issues of the insecurity and impeachment of our president. And this was fueled by angry residents of the FCT who are raised an objection to what the government is doing concerning all the various attacks. First started with the Kuje prison. Then recently it happened where the Presidential Guards Brigade were attacked by gunmen on the Buhari-Kubwa Road on Sunday. Then on Tuesday, there were reports of sporadic shootings in Dantata Bridge Airport Road, still in Abuja. Similarly, there was a leaked memo by NSCDC indicating that Boko Haram and Islamic ISWAP had already acquired dangerous weapons for massive attacks in Katsina, Lagos, FCT, Kaduna, Zamfara. Then the criminals also were reported to have had high-caliber weapons, including anti-aircraft guns, general-purpose machine guns. Then security guards have also, residents have also tightened their security.
No, these are terrorists.
Listen, this is in Abuja.
Yes.
So even private security officers have also been heightened within the estates. Estates have also heightened their own security within to ensure safety. Parents have taken their children away from schools because even the FCT education minister, I think, also sent a letter saying that everybody should just go home. They should finish their exams by Wednesday, which is yesterday, and carry your children and go. Because obviously there's a heightened threat in Abuja. So it has come to the seat of power. So it is on the back of this that the senator is saying, Uncle, go home. They're saying that they're trying to raise the notion of impeachment of our president at this point, saying that obviously
he's not aware of what is going on.
He obviously is not able to
do anything
solve
about it
or solve this issue.
I hear they're giving him 6 weeks.
They give him 6 weeks, exactly. Thank you for adding that. So 6 weeks. That's a lot can happen in 6 weeks.
That's what I said in Igbo.
I would have said 24 hours.
I didn't want to say it in English.
Let's go on a quick break. When we come back, we'll continue with the review. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We're still on Punch. Yes, Mariam had a story.
So it's a Lagos woman who had a recent stillbirth steals another woman's baby. So her name is Itunu Adepoju. She's 23 years old, and that she lives in Lagos, and she had a baby, but unfortunately she lost the baby at birth, and she had gone to the hospital in Oyo State for checkup. And she met a woman who had a baby about 3 days before, who had come with her baby for immunization, and they got talking. She befriended the woman and her baby and told them that she was just trying to move to Ibadan. And anyway, they got talking. The woman helped her. This woman with her baby helped her go around. Then around 1 o'clock, by then, this new friendship, the other woman was now backing the baby. And she said, oh, she needs to just quickly go to the POS and withdraw some money. And she went there, and the woman did not see the woman and her baby. Thankfully, this report is saying that she's been arrested. But they said, it's just crazy. She met her, she felt sad for her, helped her, but that woman all along was just planning to steal her baby.
Really sad.
It's the second kidnapping of baby.
Yeah, so I have another story in Adodota in Ifo local government. Ifo local government. So that's in Ogun State. And many communities around that area have been complaining that they lack infrastructure, their roads are not good. And then Punch had to highlight one of the schools. So the community high school, Oluke Ijoko, Ogun State, just shows every sign of neglect. And they say when you come into the school premises, there are no gates, there are no fences. The schools, the classrooms are open, dilapidated buildings. Some are destroyed already. And students have to sit on the floor to, study. They are sharing the school compound with unknown people who are homeless, who sleep there. They have, you see their baggages and everything there. And most of the unknown people who come at night to sleep there, they use some of their chairs, those little chairs that they still have to cook in that environment. Nothing is being regulated. There was a particular area that was made, the principal's office at the time was converted to a classroom, but nobody can actually sit there and learn. And they spoke to one of the teachers who said that they were asking how is it possible that some of their students are able to pass the WAEC examination. They said they have to go to other schools to, get specimens to be able to do some of their subjects. And this school is supposed to be the only primary and secondary public school in 15 villages coming together. That's the only school they are able to access. And they are appealing to the government, because this school was established in the 1970s, appealing to the government to do something about the school. They cannot have children sitting on the floor. They don't have any means. There's no hope, and it's looking really terrible on the government of Ogun State. Okay, moving on quickly now to Daily Sun. Presidency threats as senators threaten to impeach Buhari. 2 killed, 3 policemen injured as armed robbers attack bullion van in Abia. Governors call on review of water resources bill. National carrier Air Nigeria to take off with 3 leased aircraft. Akwa Ibom CJ sends human rights lawyer F. Young to 1 month jail for contempt. ASU strike, Labour shuts down Abuja in solidarity protest. And 2023 will uphold the integrity of the ballot, says INEC chairman. Okay, who has ASU? We've not taken ASU today. Yes, we've not. I have it. Okay, so let me take it here. So let me get, because there are some. We know that the strike, the protest, yes, started yesterday. I took that story yesterday, and then they had to find their way to Abuja, and they were able to access the National Assembly, where NLC workers kept complaining and saying that Nigeria cannot say that they do not have money, where the students and children of the poor people are at home, while we see on social media politicians celebrating their children who just graduated from one university or the other. And they are going to extend this protest for as long as they can. If it is going to enter into years, if the government does not do anything about it. So government needs to sit up, and everybody is doing this in solidarity with us. So we cannot keep saying that we don't have money and allow our children suffer. We're talking about insecurity. Right. The children you do not allow to get into school to learn today will be the ones who will take up arms tomorrow, because they are doing nothing at home. And, just emphasizing
we can already see it play out today.
Yes.
It happens. Okay, so INEC chair is restating his commitment to uphold the integrity of the ballot. And I was really happy to hear me when they were saying that the 2023 general elections will not be only free and fair and credible, but it will be the one in which Nigerian votes cast by Nigerians will truly count. He's saying that they will have no candidates in election, and they're not favoring any party over the other. They will not give an advantage or disadvantage to any party. They're going to ensure that everybody's votes count. So this is important, because many Nigerians always have that perception of, to vote not count, what's the point of voting? But this time around, Yakubu is telling us, come out and vote, because every single vote will count this time around.
So I want to take the story about food crisis. So on the plenary session on Wednesday, the House urged the presidency as well as the Minister for Agriculture and the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, to begin to make arrangements to mitigate emerging food challenges. Second to our second most, what takes most of our imports is food. After petrol, the next thing we import most is food. And that based on the current crisis, the Russia-Ukraine war, the dollar crisis, that there is likely going to be a case of hunger towards the end of 2022, and that we should start providing. I'm worried about what is urgent need to in place emergency program and protocol for impending food shortage. So we've seen these things when we watch international news, where they're rationing milk. and rationing other things that essential things we import. And the implication they're saying is based on the statistics on ground now, we might be getting to the point for the end of the year where there would be scarcity of food, saying that many people cannot go to their farms. About 16 states are facing major food crisis already because Rivers, Edo, Enugu, Gombe, Jigawa, all states are not able to farm. Terrorists are taking over their farms, so there are no foods coming from this place. Farmers are forced to pay to access their lands, and so to avoid a major food security issue, we should start implementing a system now to prevent it later.
What system? Just we need to security.
I don't know.
We need to secure those farms.
No, but maybe we need to start shrinking, rationing, because that's the rationing. The word rationing was used
here. The source is insecurity, right?
Yeah.
We need our president to work to ensure to secure the farms so that people can go farm. It's not about rationing.
Insecurity in Abia State, 2 people were killed, 3 policemen were injured as armed robbers attacked a bullion van. They said that this bullion van was transporting cash, and along the Port Harcourt-Enugu Expressway, this group of armed robbers shot at the bus, at the bullion van. They swerved into the bush, they attacked them. Unfortunately, they killed one of the bank staff. The driver, they say, escaped. The escort attached to the van got into a gun battle with the robbers. They shot one of them, and 3 of the police officers also were shot. Yes, so insecurity everywhere.
Okay, moving on now to Vanguard. Tension grips Abuja environs over rising insecurity. Governors reject proposed National Water Resources Bill. We mentioned that earlier. Economy doing well under Buhari than previous government, says Finance Minister. 2023 Senate caucus weight into PDP crisis meets Atiku and Okowa. FEC okays Nigeria Air's lease of aircraft to commence operations. Body of benches does not interfere with discipline of lawyers, says Olanipekun SAN. Subsidy regime profile of 23 oil companies not known, says Reps. And FG's borrowings deviate from 2021 to 2025 plan, rises 20.8%. Okay, which story are we taking in Vanguard?
The Minister for Finance is saying that our economy is doing well as compared to the last. I just had to read the story. He said economy doing well under Buhari. So she now broke down that in 2015, when the administration came into power, a list of the challenges that they had to face, starting with the fact that the administration had to deal with the slump in oil prices, which led to a recession and also shortage in production. Said secondly, this administration had to deal with COVID in 2020, which also led to a recession. Another thing he wanted to remind us of is the complaints about the excess crude oil accounts, that this account hasn't been funded in the past about 4 years, according to what she said. So in view of all the things that the government has had to deal with, the lowest oil and gas revenue compared to previous administration, that the administration has done well.
Okay. Okay. We're running out of time. Any important story?
Tribune. I was thinking you would get there. So, the NYSC has been sued.
Okay.
Yes. So, let me just go straight to the point. So, there's this man, Dennis Ude, who is a plaintiff. He's suing the federal government for NYSC, saying that he's a taxpayer and still keeping the scheme. NYSC is heavy on taxpayers' money because they're using taxpayers' money to fund NYSC. That's one. Secondly, the security terrain is not very conducive for children to be sent to places where there's banditry and insurgency. And it's no longer serving us right now. So it needs to be dissolved. You know, basically, that's just
suspended. So
and reduce so that we can use the money and focus on other things that we need in the economy.
And I think it has a point. The subsidy is one of them that has to go first.
That's the elephant in the room. Remove subsidy first. Then that one that the Acting President was
if you remove subsidy first, it will bite us. Why don't you look for the ones that will not bite us?
It will not bite us. us.
If Brighton,
How much are you paying? How many people are going to NYC?
No.
People's school. No, listen.
They use
schools.
billions.
I know they use billions for NYC.
Okay.
Schools are on strike. Put the money for NYC into the university that other people can go through school.
Yes, okay.
It's about, you vary your options. What do you have available? I support let's have that conversation.
We're not saying that they shouldn't. She's saying that subsidy is priority. It's one of the biggest issues. Let us face it.
But that will hit us very hard now. So why don't we start with those ones
everything
that
hitting us.
will not...
This one will not hit us too much.
Yes, I know now.
Auntie, let's go on a break. It's Thursday. But before we start this thing, there's matter. Dollar don't increase. Stay with us. We'll focus on dollar matter. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So Nigerians woke up and are worried about the free fall of Naira to the dollar in the parallel market. It's been widely reported to be trading for 710 Naira against the US dollar. Everybody is complaining and worried about what's going to happen to their businesses. Joining us to discuss more on this is an economic and financial expert, Mr. Tunde Olatunji. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Thanks for joining us. So from the reports we read today, within the NAFEX, within the system, Naira has strengthened to 430 to the dollar. But on the parallel market, it's 710 to the dollar. And Nigerians are confused because some don't even understand why we're having two various rates. So help us, for those who don't even understand what this is about, help us understand it at that level before we even understand where we are going on this matter.
Well, thank you. One of the major challenges with Nigerian foreign exchange is the fact that over the years it's been very difficult to have a convergence of our exchange rate. So you have the black market rate different from that of the official window. And, you know, because the official window has not been able to adequately take up the demand of the Nigerians in terms of foreign exchange, a whole lot of demand has now shifted to the black market. So despite the fact that the official window gives you a cheaper rate, it cannot take care of the needs of the people. So a whole lot of Nigerians resort to the black market to meet their demand. And this is a function of the fact that, number one, the inflow of dollars into the Nigerian economy has dropped drastically. And this is a reflection of the fact that Nigeria is not a producing nation in terms of what we need to put in the national market to earn foreign exchange. And at the same time, Naira is not also on high demand because we are not producing anything that is enough to make people want to demand for your goods and your currency. So when you look at the demand and the supply end of it, which is a major factor in determining foreign exchange, you have deficiency in supply, and then your demand is rising on daily basis as a country. So when you have this gap, it explains why you have that drop in your foreign exchange.
Right. Can you please answer, is this, just a follow-up to that, is this just peculiar to Nigeria? These two different rates, two different markets, and obviously almost a very powerful informal sector?
Yeah, it's not peculiar to Nigeria, but it's prominent in Nigeria because of the fact that when you look at the size of the Nigerian economy, take for instance in Africa, this is the largest economy. And when you compare that with the potential of a country like Nigeria, you understand why whenever we have issues like this, it's going to have a much more bigger impact on the people. It's one of the peculiarities of the developing economies across the world. It's not peculiar to us as a nation, but then we have battled this for so long. It's been on for decades, and until we're able to address the structural deficiency in our economy, it may actually be practically difficult for us to come out of this situation we find ourselves. I remember, being on one of the major TV shows about 5 years ago, and I postulated that if we think the worst has come to our currency being devalued, then it simply means we lack the understanding of how the economy works. Dollar, exchange rate is not something that is going to be pronounced by fiat, by a government, or it's not something you talk into existence. It has to be addressed the way it is. You have to do something to either bring down your demand for foreign exchange, or you have a boom in your supply. For as long as you continue to have this mismatch, it's going to put pressure on your local currency. And when it puts pressure on your local currency, it becomes a big issue. And let me even say this. Devaluation of currency itself is not an entirely a bad concept. We have had instances where countries would deliberately devalue their currency so as to make their production attractive to the people. If Nigeria were to be a producing nation, you could, as a matter of economic policy, devalue your currency such that it's cheaper for people to want to buy your goods, it's cheaper for people to want to produce in your country than for them to want to buy the goods of other countries. We have seen countries like China deploy this tool in the past. But when your currency loses value, and a large percentage of your consumption is not even produced locally, you need to rely on importation to meet your needs, it's going to become so unbearable for the people, and it's going to be so huge. But at the same time, when even as a nation, our major source of foreign earnings is dropping, yes, oil now is selling at good rates in the market, but again, you are battling with your production not being able to meet even what's expected to put in the global market. It becomes a serious issue. Now, Nigeria has also witnessed a drop in its portfolio investment into the country. And why is this so? When people want to bring their money, their currency into your country, they are also going to be concerned about the fact that when it is time for me to repatriate my gains, when it is time for me to repatriate my funds, how easy will it be for me to also be able to repatriate my funds? What we have now in Nigeria is a situation where, because of the drop in our foreign exchange earnings, even when people bring in hard currency into your country, when it is time for them to remit their funds, it becomes a big deal. And that's why you see Nigeria begin to, the CBN governor, said at some point in time that the backlog of unremitted funds into the economy was running some billions of US dollars. This is discouraging to those who want to bring money to invest, because as long as there is no ease of entry and exit into an economy, it becomes a very significant issue.
Let me get a few questions again.
Okay, sir. So my head was running riot as you were speaking, because I was trying to find the angle where you would, explain to us in layman's terms what exactly is happening and how we can begin to tackle it, not just the government side, but also individuals. So you talked about structural deficiencies that we need to address as soon as possible, and you mentioned a few, but are there other ones you think that the government is deliberately working on to ensure that we can, strengthen the Naira? And how do you think ordinary Nigerians can play a role in helping this happen?
Thank you very much. In addressing this issue, we cannot put it entirely on the doorstep of the government. For an economy to be functional and prosperous, the government must play its lead role, and the people must be willing to ensure that they give what it takes for their country to prosper and flourish. That is when you see an economy working. And I'll give you a simple example. As an average Nigerian, what is our appetite for foreign goods? What is our appetite for the things we are not producing? Any nation that delights in consuming what it does not produce is doing so at its own peril, is doing so at its own risk. If you look at even in historical context, we've seen empire fall when they thought that they have arrived and they abdicated their production and their livelihood in the hands of foreigners. And this area we need to call Nigeria. We need to bring in Nigerians. I'll start an instance. I had a business interaction with a Chinese person some 7 years ago who came into Nigeria to invest. And it was time for them to procure electronics into their company. She asked me, where can I get a Chinese-made product? And I said, I told her, I told the MD of the company, I said, well, the best products we could get here, they may be manufactured, but they are not going to be Chinese brands. She told me point blank, she said, I will only buy a product from another country if I cannot get that of the Chinese brand here. I'm talking of an experience here. She insisted, and I'll say this to you in very clear terms. I don't want to mention brands because I'm on here. As at that time, there was an entry of a Chinese AC and TV product into the market that was still very new, I know. She got there and she insisted that that was what she was going to buy. Even at that time, it wasn't a product that was accepted to Nigerians. She refused it. She said, for every of these purchases I make, money is going back to my country in China. Exactly. That is patriotism. Patriotism has a role to play in the economy. And I'll say this in 3 clear terms. Number one, you see, we have even shifted so much responsibility beyond the capacity of our central bankers to them. And I pity them at times. We take, for instance, we keep deploying, monetary policy tools. We want to address what we have at the end of the day. Much of the rates that you have today is artificial. Right. Now, what are the things that can address this? I was reading a report that is about in 2016, 2017, school fees demand in Nigeria, on the school fees demand in dollars in Nigeria was about $500 million. But at last year, it has moved to over $2 billion. Yeah.
Let me go on a quick break, sir. Because this is an important part. Because in all the conversation we have, it's important to also know where we as Nigerians play a role in this. Let's go on a break. When I come back, I'll let you finish. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We're still discussing the dollar to the Naira, 710 Naira. And Tokwe had a question before the break. I'll let you go ahead.
So I'm happy that you harped on our appetite for foreign goods and how our appetite for foreign goods is impacting on the economy. Still staying on the things that we can do as individuals. I want you to explain how
we lost the guest.
Oh my goodness, we are going to yes. So let me yab government then. If I'm asking a question, I will ask about us. But if I want to talk about patriotism, I will start with our government.
Yes. They don't want you to yab.
Hello, let me just confirm. Hello, Mr. Latunji, are you there? Hello, sir. Yes. So we lost you for a moment. So Toko had a question for you.
I will say both of them. So on one side is that when you spoke about patriotism, I remembered reading a book about how India grew their brand called Tata, which is their car brand, and by enforcing everybody in the country, every government agency to buy their locally made car brand to grow that economy. We have a very huge appetite for imported goods, but I want you to help us understand the impact of the trend that started in 2020, where Nigerians save in dollars, where people collect their salary and change it to dollars and keep it. I read somewhere that banks have about millions of dollars in accounts sitting dormant. Please, can you help us expand on the impact of this on our economy? Thank you.
Thank you very much for that very brilliant question. And I need to say, you remember that sometimes in 2016 or thereabout 2017, when the Nigerian currency fell so deeply, and within a number of days, it appreciated with about 30 or 40 naira. That defied all basic understanding of the economy, because there was no significant, happening within the economic or financial sector of the country that was responsible for that. And that tells you how unpatriotic we can be as a people, and that is undermining our economy. Now, you see that what has also begun to happen now is that a number of Nigerians who are also into the business of speculative buying of currency for no reason, thinking that, oh, this thing is falling. I think it's going to go further. People now begin to buy currency for round tripping. Now, these are the actions that we take that undermines our economy. When we all understand the import of our action on the health of our economy as a people, we'll begin to do things differently. And that is why number one is that beyond the economic and financial tools that will be deployed by government, there is also need for us to have a reorientation about the understanding of our economy. There is also a need for us to bring back the concept of patriotism. There is also the need for us to ensure that we begin to lead and we understand the concept of accountability in leadership. There is also the need for us to know that as citizens, there is something we call responsible citizenry. Every Nigerian must be responsible for development in this country. Every leader must be accountable for whatever actions and inactions they take. When you bring these two together, you begin to see a departure in some of this. And it's very important, I need to use this medium to say this. We need to have, a very sincere intellectual discourse about the prosperity and economy of this country, bringing together right minds. A number of us can volunteer as a pro bono for us to have a study. And I know there are a number of Nigerians who want to speak the truth and the way it should be. We must have conversation that will be devoid of primordial sentiments of politics, religion, and all of that things that has held us this far. We must have serious intellectual debate around the future of this country and our economy. And that's why I'm happy with what we are doing today. This is part of the enlightenment that we need to do as a people. And it's important for us to have a reorientation about the concept of our economy. I will give you an instance. At some point, the CBN, placed some 42, or there are 41, 42 items on a list that is not valid for forex. That means you cannot access foreign exchange to buy these things from us. But what does this mean is you can go to the black market to get them.
Okay, let me get to one more.
Something in one of the fora. The question is this: it is not enough for us to put some item on a list that are not valid for forex. We must begin to ask questions like this: are these items needed, important to the survival of an average Nigerian? If you don't import water into this country, what will happen to you as a person? Now you go to the Nigerian stores, you begin to see imported honey. When you have one of the best honeys in the world, if you don't import honey to this country, will you die as a people? We must take steps that will show that we are in terms with the seriousness that the economy deserves. Now, it is not enough for us to have items that are not valid for forex, as long as those items does not determine the survival. Them to be classified as contraband. Don't bring them into this country. Some of the items we spend money bringing, it doesn't matter whether you access your dollars from the official window or the black market. The implication and the consequences is also still going to be binding on you. I was in China about 4 years ago, and then I saw some of their products that were herbal. And they told me quite clearly, if I'm going to consume this in China, I can buy any amount that I want. But if I'm going to take this out of China, I cannot take it out as a tourist, as somebody who has come for business. That is how countries protect their economy. And I'm telling you about a comment coming from the mouth of an illiterate Chinese that I went to his store. I'm not even talking about the officials at the airport doing some of these things. So Nigeria needs to make some very important and deliberate choices. And in getting this done, we need to ensure that we agree as a people that what exactly do we want. I don't have anything against people deciding to school, but the question is this, my sisters, and I will put this to you. Now, if someone will come and access currency in Nigeria to school abroad, to go and, study courses that he or she will never ever come back to your country to practice, you have lost money as a country. I don't know if you are getting my
Yeah.
idea.
Please, I want to ask you a question, sir. This is very, very important because I realize that we have official windows and then there's the unofficial window. And the government is closing their eyes to the fact that the unofficial window is soaking a lot of money, which is what is driving the black market price up. So things that are banned are still in the country and they are everywhere. How do you believe the government can balance implementation in a way that maybe they reduce some items from the ban list, or maybe they should, it should be, the total ban should be enforced in a way that if you see it in Nigeria, like I see a frozen non-Nigerian brand, because frozen chicken is banned, yet frozen chicken enters this country every day. So should we now say all-out war against any banned imported product so that we can drive down the price of black market dollars?
In doing this, and I'm still going to refer back to my own idea of what should have been done as at the time we banned some of those items. Let us review those items. Are there any item on that list that even if you don't bring them into this country, it does not affect the existence of anybody? Such items should be taken out of the outright. They should be classified as contraband. And I'm going to say this. Let me give you an example. When there was lockdown, there were a number of items that even if you have all the money in this world, you can't even get them into this country. Did we die?
We didn't die.
Did we survive?
Yeah.
We survived.
Some of those things are nothing but the fact that we are just fueling luxury. Some of them are nothing but, unwanted appetite for things that are destroying our economy. The government must take that bold step, review the items on that 42 list, and struck out a number of them and classify them as contraband. Then it is also the duty of government to ensure that there is compliance by enforcement. It is also the duty of every citizen. There is a way you can make some of this. I will tell you, I'll give you an instance. If you force yourself to bring a product into this country, and then an average Nigerian is saying, instead of me buying this product, this honey that is imported from this country, I will look for local honey to buy, which is also even better. By the time those who are smuggling those items bring them to this country and there is no demand for it, will they still be in business? Will they not be forced out of business? That is the complementary role of the citizen. On the other side, we must also see the government must ensure that there is enforcement and compliance of those things. And one of the ways I think we can go about it is this. We have to go to the extent of saying, if you dare smuggle these items into this country, it doesn't matter whether they are on your shelves or not. Even if you are a supermarket, we can raid your supermarket. Let us give the enabling law that will make it possible. We can raid your market and get them out. These are both steps that we've seen nations take to ensure that they stabilize. Some of the countries we refer to today as countries that are doing well. You take Singapore, for instance. Singapore is just the size of Ibadan in terms of land size. If you even annex some other neighboring parts of Ibadan, some of their villages, Ibadan is bigger than Singapore. But today, what everybody makes reference to Singapore as a country. But one thing in the history of Singapore that we need to study, that was a country that even at the time of independence, they don't have a potable water to drink. That was one country that when they want to gain independence, they did not fight for independence. Their neighboring countries, Malaysia and others, were willing to let them go because they saw them as a liability to confederation. But they took hard choices. They made bold steps. And today, Singapore has become a reference point in terms of one of the few countries that will leave third world economy to first world in the lifetime of the people in less than 40 years. These are the hard choices that we need to make as a people. Nations don't just come to existence, they are built.
You're very correct.
And we must build Nigeria.
Yeah. Let me let you stop at this point because I think it's time for us to even discuss with Nigerians. And I'd like to hear Nigerians' views on this because it's one thing to complain and lament about what is going on with the dollar and blame and point the finger at, oh, is the CBM governor, is this person, forgetting that we are also part of the problem. This our appetite for foreign goods. And I'd like to go on a break now. When we come back, we'll open our phone lines to hear from Nigerians and what we can do. Yes, there's a part of the government who should have actually stimulated local production of more goods and services, but there's also the part of us as a people taking responsibility. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We're still discussing this dollar issue. And as I said, when we talk about stuff like this, the easiest person to blame is the CBN governor, governmental policies. And that's rightfully so, absolutely, because they have a responsibility. But the conversation we're having now is, what is our own responsibility as a people? How are we contributing to this issue? I'll take a call right now from Mr. Olatunde. He's been holding for a while. Good morning, Mr. Olatunde. Are you there? Oh, I'm sorry, we just lost that call. I do apologize. I really wanted to speak to him. Toko, let me come to you. I mean, even BC, because you're a business owner, and I know part of the problem we're having is getting dollar to buy goods, having to go to the parallel market. The issues we're having where business owners are not able to import goods. These are demands these are things we need. For example, we buy phones, we buy cars, we buy laptops. These are things, essential tools we need for the offices.
And they don't give them at official rates.
So they don't give those at official rates. You have to buy a parallel market. So that's what our guest was saying, that we must review that list to include some essentials.
Because we need laptops. We don't produce laptop yet.
Yes. We need to, so we now need to, who's going to now sift through the list to say, okay, which one is essential? For example, lace is not essential. Lace.
Yes.
So we import lace. Now everybody's doing that Shebi. Every day we're doing party, we're buying lace, and it's all brought in to the country. And they're buying at the parallel market because they can't buy from official rates.
Because we have to look a certain way. So the problem is, we need to come down from our high horse and build our economy to a point where we can now do the largesse and it wouldn't affect us. Yeah. This is a building stage for the country.
Ooh. Good morning, Abisola. Are you there? Okay, hello?
Hello, good morning.
You're live. Go ahead, please. Welcome to the show.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. I just want to make a little contribution.
Yes, please.
Our government, I'm so sorry, they have not made a provision for us all. Honestly, things are so expensive. Very, very expensive. I mean, when you said the man talking, I think Mr. Sunday Collins from abroad said we shouldn't import, probably we shouldn't import turkey, whatever. Please, Morayo, can you afford a whole turkey? Can you buy a whole turkey for yourself? A whole turkey now costs like about maybe 45 or 55,000 for one turkey. Yeah. And all these neighboring countries can provide us with like a kilo of a turkey. We buy 3,000. At least it's affordable, at least for us to eat. At least to have a taste of it. Chicken, you know what is cost in the market now. A chicken is about 3,500 or 4,000 or 4,500, whatever. We can't afford it, please. So we should please, Nigeria they should go back to the drawing table. You understand? To the drawing table. On those like 1980s or 1990s, at least things were a bit cheaper. We can afford things. People can afford things. Poor people can afford things. But now it's terrible. Right. You can't afford 3 square meals in this Nigeria. If you eat in the morning, you're not going to eat in the afternoon. It's only in the next time you eat.
That is 3 square meals many years ago. It's 2 square meals now. Thank you very much, Abisola. You're saying something.
Yes, so I like what Abisola has said, but I'll come to that. I was just trying to say that this is the building stage for Nigeria. Unfortunately for us, we started running even before we started crawling. There are stages in every government system, democracy, economy. You grow into it. You don't allow anybody or external influences or even how you feel to push you into doing things that you're not ready and ripe for. And because Nigerians are not collective in their thinking, once you are sorted, you mind your business. After all, I'm the one that can afford it. It's not your money. I think we need to start thinking collectively. Me, myself, and I is no longer working for a Nigeria that we want to have. We need to be thinking, as you're thinking about yourself, you're thinking about other people, you are considering how it will impact your economy. I go and do some shopping, and I know there are companies in Nigeria here that you will see it's only Indians that enter there. They will buy their product because it's an Indian company. The Chinese will buy their product because it's a Chinese company. We will want to do weddings. We will not buy our dire. Ankara is not even, we don't even make Ankara anymore, but at least it still represents us as a people. But we will not do that. We will go and buy lace. We will go and buy all those very foreign things because we want to look a certain way. The typical Nigerian is flamboyant in nature. So once you have gotten that small money, you want to show your neighbor that I am now better than you. We need to come down from that high horse and start asking ourselves questions. How do I support the local economy to grow? Right. How do I patronize my sister that is selling so and so that we keep the money within our economy? Yeah. We don't have to wear all those named brands. It was even as an adult that I knew those names that if you don't wear it, I remember I was teased out of school because people were calling me a local girl for wearing Ankara. I couldn't afford the name designers. But there are some people that will do whatever it takes to make sure that it's only this, I only wear this brand. I only flaunt this brand. Why can't you be your own brand and wear your culture?
There was a season we talked about this. Wear Nigeria, eat Nigeria. There was a time it was raining then. You know, everybody started wearing the Ankaras and suddenly it stopped. I mean, I'll come to it. I'm told I have a caller. Richard, are you there?
Yes, good
You're
morning,
live.
Mariah.
Go ahead, please. Morning.
Thank you very much. So thank you. I would like to take you up on from the last point you made. So about when there was a promotion about buy Nigeria, eat Nigeria, Nigeria, and all that. You see, our government only paid lip service. Nigerians are actually so patriotic, and we were actually doing all that.
Exactly.
I, for one, at a point in my house, I insisted that it is only local rice that we will be eating. Yeah. If we want to get fried rice, that is what we'll make. We'll use it like that until we perfect it. But guess what? The same leaders who are actually preaching all this, starting from the #1 citizen, where does he receive his medical attention? UK. We have seen a lot of our senators, ministers, and all that. They flaunt right in our faces their children schooling abroad. Even the vice president, we see their children schooling abroad. Morayo, you interviewed a member of the House of Representatives or Senate some time ago who was trying to push a bill to prohibit any of our public officials from sending their children abroad for schooling so that they can be here. But guess what? After he's on strike, yesterday you talked about Amila, the Speaker of the House of Representatives. Where is he schooling now? He's in Harvard. And they are further causing the devaluation of our Naira. How many have you seen Boris Johnson or any other of all these foreign people come to University of Nigeria or University of Lagos to come and receive
Thank you very much, Richard. Thank you for even reminding me. Actually, Gbajabiamila Miller has responded. He has replied. He has apologized for that post. So he did say he accepted that it was insensitive and he has apologized. So we accept his apology. But you see, the reason why we're having this conversation, all of us are here, and I'm so happy that we discussed it during the break, and the caller said exactly what Miriam was saying, that we wanted, Nigerians are so easy to please. We're tripping over our vice president that went to medical, just because if you told us to go this way, we will support you. If you say don't wear foreign, we will support you, but you must also do exactly the same thing ask us to do. Be sincere. With the champagne, we order champagne. I mean, we go to parties and people are privately saying, Morel, I'll get you a bottle of champagne. You know, like champagne. Somebody bought a big bottle, boom. I need to feel like, yeah, they gave us champagne. But this is dollar.
So, there are lots of times when we discuss issues here, Amora always reminds us, we the people. And I believe that there's so many things that falls on our shoulders as the people, and there's some blame we need to take as the people. But when it comes to this appetite for foreign things, I think that we need to see the change from top down. There was a time the president and the vice president, very early in their administration, they were having tea and they had a particular brand that's very local to us for tea and water beside them, and we were so amazed. We were so impressed. I don't want to call any brand name for advertising, but we were so impressed by it. It just seemed one was local and humble and just decent. Like any Nigerian looking at that table would relate, relate to it and can buy. And he brought a sense of pride. But very soon he was off abroad, you know, for his treatment. And Nigerians started questioning, okay, if he has to go abroad, that means I cannot trust our hospitals. So now that we're coming to the general elections, some of the questions that I'm going to ask is, and something I want us to push is, this next administration, they have to realize that some of the perks enjoyed by previous governments, they should not come here thinking that that is what will be happening for them as well. We cannot afford it. There has to be a huge change, and we're looking for someone who's ready to make those sacrifices. Simple.
There was something that Toyin Subara, my former boss, in the wake of this Toby Amusan thing, he made a post which I thought was really important. He said, great nations are built on personal sacrifices. So yes, we want a great nation. The government can do so much, but we, the people, must have personal sacrifices, because that girl, though all the odds were against her, based on where she was born, where she went to school, the factors of education, everything was against her, she was able to hone her own skills to the point where it took her to a global stage. So yes, we have issues. Yes, the government policy could have been better, but what can you and I do? Let's consciously try to eat Nigerian and wear Nigerian. Even if our leaders are doing otherwise, maybe we should start thinking of how we can make those personal sacrifices to build our nation.
So if we keep thinking until they change before you change, nobody will change. The only thing and the only person you can control is yourself. You cannot control your husband. You cannot control your children. You can only influence them by being the right example. So I think that it's in Nigerians have
you can change them by your vote.
No. Hold on. Because you cannot change who you vote for if you don't change yourself. Who we are, we've been voting for this particular kind of people because it is who we are. We, as we are, will continue to vote this kind of leaders. So we cannot change the leaders. The leaders will not change us until we take responsibility and we change ourselves. Then we can start seeing that we become irritated with the quality of people that are coming forth. But we must first change. When I sweep the front of my house, I will start getting irritated by my leader not sweeping in front of his own house. Like, I'm keeping my own house clean. Do your own. I will come to your house and say, I am keeping my house clean. Your dirty house is making all of us look dirty. So let us stop pointing fingers. I know it's the easiest thing. I have done it here. I've thought about it here, that the leaders did not buy Unison. Our governor in Lagos says signed contract with G. I'm not saying anything is wrong with the G they signed contract with, but I feel like Unison is a 100% local company. That is who you should be partnering with. But they've done their own. I do my own. Do what I can do. So let's start with chicken. There are many locally made Nigerian branded chicken that are struggling to freeze their chicken, and they sell in kilos. Buy them. There are many locally made rice. I buy Nigerian rice for the past 4 years. Buy them. There are several people who feel like, oh, I can see some stone in it. Eat if you don't have option, you will eat what you have. Under lockdown, if the only rice you had was rice that has stone, you will pick out the stone before you eat it. And you will eat it. Our parents were eating rice that has stone since, and they did not die.
Let me take this call from Winifred. Good morning from Winifred. Good morning. You're live. Go ahead, please.
Good morning. I'm first time caller.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. The point I would like to make is that we keep differentiating it like, oh, they are leaders and they are citizens. The truth is, they are not only different from our leaders. That's the problem. These leaders, they were not born into leadership. They were born as citizens and became leaders. And if you check it now, we as citizens, our problem is that we like to, in Nigeria, we like to raise shoulders over others. We like to look better than others. We like to take undue advantage of others. When there was a ban on, when they were promoting Here Nigeria, East Nigerian, and all of that, you know, it's not specifically the government that made it that whole process. It is people who are benefiting from importing things from outside the country. So those people are citizens. They are not leaders. They are people who are into importing of things from outside. And those people are the ones that they will still keep putting pressure because they are making sort of money from there. So it's not like, if you check it deep down, all of us, my friend used to say, oh, everybody. Because when you see the one that stole the one that's at the leadership position, the person that is making things go bad. The only problem, we check our hearts. The real problem is that we, as the citizens, we are even wishing that we get there so that we will do our own. That is the truth.
All right. Thank you so much, Winifred.
Yes. Just to respond, I understand when you say that the leaders come from us, but when we are going to make a change, and Nigerian people have started making that change, we already have a political class. And that political class, if they do not change, would affect us no matter how much we change. They have access to huge funds that your one change would not, would not reflect as much. So it means that if Nigerians decide that this is how they're going to live their lives now, making sure that they've put the appetite for importation aside, will be sabotaged by political or government or whatever that does not see it the same way. And whether we like it or not, it would not be sustainable. Nigerians will not continue to do that because nobody is a fool here. That's what will happen. We need to make sure that we can, you were saying something, but she cut you off. We need to make sure that if you're there and you're not doing right, we bring you out of that place. Nigerians need to find their power in this democracy to understand that they can take someone off. You can impeach somebody. We don't have to wait until they finish their tenure and finish everybody before we speak up. So this is what I want to see going on the next election. I just feel like this is so serious in 2023. We cannot afford to, to take it lightly.
I'll come to you. Good morning, Babatili. Are you there?
Good morning.
You're live. Go ahead, please. Very well. Thank you.
Yeah. You see, I know most times you like to play the devil's advocate for the government. I understand because they are not there with you, so you want to try and, speak for them. But the truth is, this government is not sincere. Our leaders are the problems of Nigeria. If you say people should not be taking imported items, and you go to their houses, what they use is imported. Look at the vehicles they ride, imported. Everything is imported. Only Anambra State governor is using the vehicle manufactured in Nigeria. If all the governors, the presidency and all of them are towing that line, we, the followers, will also follow. But when the leaders have serious pensions, incurable pensions for imported items, training outside, their children outside, all this, they spend dollars. Now you want the woman in the market to come and be obeying the rules, to come and be following, be eating local.
So it goes back to, let me let you come in here.
The two perspectives are right. And depending on the angle you're seeing it from. But I would like that we work with the two at the same time. So one is not waiting to, first of all, change ourselves before we now start looking to government. While we're working on ourselves, because we are the ones that will still be in power tomorrow, while we're working on ourselves, we are also holding the government accountable to say, this is what we are doing as a country. We are patriotic here. For you to get there, for you to have this position, you have to show a form of patriotism. And that is how we can do it together. However, the government needs to do more in terms of itemizing our basic needs and ensuring that we begin local production of our basic needs. We do not have any power of our own as a country. If the outside world shuts us off now, that's when we know that we are on our own. Because as little as matchboxes we import, as little as needle, and even the thread we used to sew our local clothes we import, as little as milk, we have cows everywhere. The fura de nunu is everywhere. Yet, no company is taking charge to say we can produce this in our own way locally with the support of government. So the government needs to sit down and say, what is that thing that Nigerians cannot do without? And how do we bring it home? How do we support people? How do we give incentives for them to get into this business? And we start producing it. Then the luxury items, we will start gradually removing our faces from it. And if you ever have to import it, it has to be heavily taxed. So that you are spending serious money to get it for those who feel. And eliminating those luxury things from our leaders, because that is not what they are there to do. If you decide to serve, you know that you have to cut your coat according to what the country can provide.
Let me debate that a bit, because I do remember that many of this, for those of you in the agricultural sector, you may be able to tell us if indeed those items, milk, those items that are imported, the government has given incentives, unless I'm wrong, many things within the agricultural sector. I know government has given quite a bit of incentive so that we can keep it local, although it's still not enough because you still have to import maize. But a lot of times...
the maize, we have enough land to produce enough maize. What we don't do is we don't have enough machinery to mechanize the process. So it is extremely, everybody is doing small bits. And it's not enough. We don't produce enough to meet our needs. But we have the land.
So we have the land. But the machines for doing that, we still have to import those.
Yes,
and you can still, you can even get the dollar, you can get the Naira through the banks for those ones. The issue we are having are those items like champagne, like the list, those are our appetite for foreign goods. Education. These are things that we are demanding, that is demanding dollars. So that's where the issue is. So the conversation is, how do we cut down on these things we want to do?
So all of us can agree
yes,
that we are in the space where, at this stage, we believe that foreign education should not be funded at the retail rate. Do we say we want to agree to that? Because all of us also want to children abroad.
They give us
like, let us be so that we tell ourselves
they give us the official rate.
Official rate.
Education official rate.
But it's costing us over $500 million.
Yes, for another
to pay education, and we're sending her money that should be able to provide milk, that would have provided, made it affordable for us to get basic things. We're using it to pay for the school fees of a few people abroad. A few people abroad.
Okay, let's take on education for a moment.
If we
now,
say education
the argument now is our educational sector is not strong enough.
If you can afford to pay abroad, pay at the rates available outside.
That's the 700.
Yes, if it is 700, if it's 1,000, if it is 200, whatever the rate is, we will not use the hard-earned currency that comes to Nigeria to pay for a few people's children's education abroad. That can provide us a bit of leeway. Another thing, because I just feel like if we are saying we're doing memorandum, it will be sacrifice. Some people will feel it will affect all of us. We will go through it and we know that, okay. And another thing is, you are trying to get what we're saying.
I'm trying to understand. So education is in the list.
Yes. Oh, you didn't know.
Outside the country
People,
is a luxury
so
item.
let me tell you something. There's a lady that's been on our show before, Bola Adefila. She does tissues.
Yes.
She applied to get the Form M to import raw materials for the tissue paper she's producing in Nigeria that she needs, essentially.
Yeah.
And out of the $20-something thousand she asked for, they did not give her up to $2,000.
Right.
Because that is not available. It was not approved. She got less than 10% of what she applied for, that by right she should get it. But school fees are getting paid. So it's about priority when it comes to raw materials and organization.
Let me pause you for a second. Let me take this call from Wale. Yes. You see, we are all in this together.
All of us.
And we have to discuss as a people. Wale, are you there? Thanks for calling from Dublin. Hello, Wale, you're live. Okay, I think we lost that. So, education is on the list that is approved. Okay, that's one.
Luxury item, because we have our educational system here that needs to be worked on. That's why those ones who choose to go out is luxury. So pay the official, black market rates and not official rates.
So let me pause for a second. So if I remove subsidy today and put that money in education, maybe it will be able to save our dollar and our children will not have to go abroad. So those of you that are carrying placard saying, don't remove subsidy, this is another part of it. It's interconnected.
Yes.
They keep saying...
And then when you keep saying that, yes, for those of you who want to afford the luxury or go to the black market, then we still continue to have this widening gap.
To go there.
So we will never go away. We always have that the official rate and the black market rate. The truth is that
Every country, I think, has it.
Yes, but not as wide as ours is. But the truth is, if we have to go forward, we all have to make sacrifices. But we cannot do this sustainably if the political class does not join in this.
Okay,
and make an example.
And also, if we do not have, that's one, I like that point. The second one is if we do not have a love for our country.
We don't.
What is driving this is patriotism. It's simple. The Chinaman who decides to buy only China products is not getting any incentive from his government.
Uneducated Chinaman.
Yes, no incentive from his government, but he just feels, I want this money back in my country. Yes. Simple love for the country.
So, comments? To get the message right, she applied to get $425,000 to import products, and she got $210,000 approved from the entire money that she needs. What that means is if she doesn't source this from black market, her factory will shut down. Employers will lose money. The locally bought tissue that we are proud of, that when I go to the market and I go shopping, I tell my husband, I say, don't buy, you must buy this. I know the producer of this one. Let the money go indirectly into a Nigerian person.
My house.
So this person would have to shut down her production because the government has said that they cannot give her what she needs to produce. But they will give the dollar to the people that are paying for school fees. And we are prioritizing the wrong things. So Mariam raised a very valid issue that I've already thought about it. I was going to go there. That if we say everybody go to the black market, we will have that pressure on the black market, which is what has led to where we are today. So it's not about going to the black market to go and source. It's about taxing.
Reviewing that list.
So we tax it. If you are ever going to come into this country with whatever it is you are bringing, you will get dollar at the right rates. We will make sure you get the dollar at the right rate, or you will not get it at all. And if you bring it in, you will pay so much taxes in Naira. Because what we're doing now is we're empowering a different currency. But if the person that wants to buy, if BC wants to buy hair, she wants to bring in hair, and you say, we will give you the dollar at the official rate of 480, which does not put pressure on outside markets. But you will now pay 600 Naira on as tax on each of the hair. So you are paying that money again, but it is not going into the dollar part.
Because I have the Naira within circulating.
And I said, I gave an example to someone in my life. I said, imagine if everybody in America says, we are worried about dollar. We want to buy pounds. What will happen? Dollar will crash. It is the people. If everybody in America starts going to the bank, withdrawing their dollar, changing it to pounds, there will be a crisis in America.
We've not reached is the fact that all of us, many people, Nigerians, have changed their Naira to dollar. And the dollar is kept, is sitting down in the savings account. All of us. You that are watching me and me. We have Naira that we've changed the dollar and kept it. It's not circulating. That's why the businessman, like a talkback, like a business, cannot find dollar in the black market.
So that's why we go back to the political class. If you do well, Nigerians will trust the government to release their money and let it work. The reason why people are saving their money is lack of trust. So many things have gone wrong in this country. You give a policy today, you change it tomorrow. Person starts a whole business, borrows whole money to start a business based on one policy today. In 2 weeks, you have changed it. The people now feel that the only way that they can save their money is put it in a currency that is not constantly fluctuating. So that is why, whether we like it or not, when it comes to this issue, it must start from the top.
It should start from the top.
Let's take a few comments.
Okay, so there's I was talking to someone that produces cashew and peanuts, nuts. She does not refine nuts. And I was even so happy. I'm like, oh, you do this in Nigeria? Awesome. I'm going to patronize you. Only to find out that she's importing the nuts. Why? She said she bought from Nigeria and that it was so dirty, it was so not neatly made, that so she felt that the ones she imports were cleaner than the ones she makes locally. I said, if you continue to import, the local ones will not have enough incentive to purify their process. So we might be putting chicken on an egg or egg before the chicken. If you are forced to patronize made in Nigeria cashew nuts, they will be forced to keep on upgrading, because you tell them, if you don't produce it to this standard, I will not buy from you. They would have to upgrade. But we must fund our market. So we produce cashew nuts in Nigeria, but people are still importing largely.
So let me tell you how we sabotage that process that you have just discussed. And that happened with rice as well, where we were giving Nigerian farmers incentives. And still, we have
smugglers were coming.
Not smugglers only. The fact that people were still buying the foreign rice, there were complaints. It smells. It has a bad color. It has stones. And what did we get? Cheap. And it's not cheap. But what did we get? Did we see improvement? We only got even more excuses and more excuses. So the thing is, our Nigerianness, where if instead of building on something, instead of growing and developing and updating, we just like to complain and say that's how it is. We were talking about Gary today. We say people don't like to make Gary because of the process it takes, how tedious the process is. In 2022, our ancestors have been eating Gary for how long? Oyinbo people have found ways to change their corn to cornflakes, to things like that. We're still doing subsistent farming, subsistent production. What is happening to us? And that is another thing. That's where government comes in. So when the government comes in and gives you funds and gives you incentives, you, the Nigerian, what are you doing that is sabotaging what the government has done?
Let me take a call from Abubakar. Abubakar has been holding for a minute. From Kogi State. Good morning, Abubakar. Hello, Abubakar. Hello? I think we lost that call again.
Also, what is the role of our universities?
No, they're supposed to do
They're supposed to be doing research. You have big, big universities,
Go back to
big,
them.
big schools. No research. They write something, they put it there. Nobody's using, nobody's making noise. I've done this research. I have, like this Gary you talked about now. I have researched this Gary for how many years now? I know that if you do this and do this, it will make it simpler. It will make companies able to get it. It will make individuals able to have accessibility to this Gary. We can do this and do that. Everybody's focusing on getting the qualification, collecting the certification, degree, shouting that you are so and so and person, and everybody goes back to sleep. So the thing I see about this thing is, the first thing that can help us in this country is a mindset change.
Absolutely.
We have a very wrong mindset. And that comes from a place of not understanding the value that we carry. That comes from a place of not being allowed to grow into our own. So there was an abortion that happened at the time the colonial masters came. No, we have to take it back. If you want healing, you need to go to the roots. That's why they say some people should do a generational cost deliverance. Because you will find it, yes, to the roots, where we were truncated to believe that everything that is ours is inferior. Yes. That's what the problem is.
Yes.
If you believe that what I have in my country, what I can produce, the little I have, is okay for me, you will not have your eyes focused on going outside to get everything else that you need. Once we start from there, we will now understand that we'll start looking for internal solutions, because if you are divided, you cannot provide solutions. If the government is divided, they have options. They cannot think deep and give the solutions that is needed because they have options. So we need to, first of all, take off the options that we have and look within to find the solution. Then we will pick our stones. And tomorrow we'll start thinking of machines that we can produce to give.
I was picking stones with my grandma. I should not be picking stones today.
Then we think, but if you don't have an option, you will think of the machines to produce to help you pick the stones.
If we have one focus, if the next administration, I don't know who's coming in, says education is my focus.
Focusing on.
Yes.
And that education covers a lot of things.
Yes.
Okay, first of all, I remove subsidy.
Wait,
I remove subsidy first of all. Because if I focus on if I focus on education, it's the only thing I want to do. My first thing is remove subsidy. That money that I'm removing from subsidy, I'm taking it to the university. I'll ask to come and take your money. I give you 6 months to 1 year to do this. After that, I expect that the numbers that are traveling abroad would reduce. The $2 billion we're exporting annually to pay school fees. There's something they can do for business people like this who are bringing in real raw materials to produce. So your girlfriend, Bola, would have the money she needs to produce more tissue for you and I to use. Yeah. If we understand the role we play in this whole thing, so you're right, government has to make policies. Yeah. But they are painful policies that we must be willing as the people to accept.
Before we run off, I think that there's something, since we are trying to look within, something every individual can start doing today that will just help a bit. When you go shopping, check Made in Nigeria. Is the least that you can do. Yeah. If you are buying any item, yes, you feel like eating those luxury, wonderful biscuits, you want to eat those wonderful nuts, they are better. Just check. If it is not made in Nigeria, just drop it and pick the one that is made in Nigeria. That little action would spiral over time to the manufacturer and create a circle of funds locating within us.
But
the least we can do.
To a party and see your leader's party where they are not eating for it. Don't say because you have seen the leader. Listen, don't say because you have seen the leader.
You now go and say, I'm not doing it again.
Salmon, for example. They go, they're serving salmon in the party. Don't worry about their salmon. You eat your own local food.
And then they wear this ashwabi that is different from yours.
Listen, do you know why you should overlook it? Because when next they're running for office, you will not vote them.
I would do you know what I want? I want to understand how I don't have to wait for when they are running for president. In the middle.
In the next 6 weeks, the current administration is saying that they want to impeach the president. So, why do they want to do that? What are we going to say about it? Let us start talking.
Maybe we can take this call. Come to UBC. I can't find the name. Okay. Yes. Kenneth, good morning, Kenneth. Are you there? From Port Harcourt. Are you there?
Yes, good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah.
You're live. Go ahead, please.
Yes. Good morning. Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
Listen to me, not the TV. Please go ahead.
Okay. I've been listening to your conversations and discussions.
Yes, sir.
Now, we've been talking about dollar issues and how to cut off this dollar. Now, we have been in this country for over 16 years now. We have been importing fuel. When we have refineries, 3 refineries that can be revamped and we can produce the fuel, produce the kerosene and other things, and we are importing other chemical things. We are importing fuel. Do you know the cost of fuel the crude oil will sell? Will still pay the same money we will sell in crude oil and still use it to import fuel and diesel. What is the difference we are making? And if we have this diesel and this crude oil, we refine it in this country, we'll be able to save a lot of dollars when we sell our crude. Yeah. Yes, we'll sell our crude and we'll still pay money to support for them to import. And we're paying billions and trillions for subsidy. And we are not, these are the areas we should think about.
Absolutely. And thank you very much. In fact, that's the elephant in the room. That's the major one. They give it. So many elephants in the room.
In this Nigerian room, too many elephants.
No, but that's one of the major places our dollar is going.
Yeah. So I wanted to just quickly say that I like the angle that we're looking at. So every Nigerian needs to take responsibility. What can I do in my little corner to ensure that I'm showing patriotism, that I love my motherland enough to sacrifice? I made a deliberate effort to ensure that in my wardrobe, I have 90% Adire and Ankara in my wardrobe. Recently, I was clearing out, and somebody came and like, you don't have tops. I say, I don't buy them anymore. You only see more Ankara in my wardrobe because I decided that this is who I am, and this is what I'm going to be supporting. I made a deliberate effort to ensure that I've been eating local rice for over 4 years now. I'm still eating local rice. I'm not changing from that local rice. We need to do it as gradually. Let's just start from somewhere. Pick one thing that you identify with and start building on it. If I go to a party tomorrow and you wear lace, you cannot intimidate me. I have confidence enough in myself. It's not about the outfit that I'm wearing.
Interestingly, before PC joined the show, Mondays was formal. But after what I noticed you started wearing your Ankaras on Mondays. And then since then, we've all been biking. So somehow, we've all somewhat been influenced. Even I have been influenced. Monday morning, I'm thinking, okay, if I don't have something, let me just wear what I have. But the point is that gradually, the mindset changes as we go ahead. Go ahead, Topper.
And
let's make a few comments on social media, please.
There are Nigerian designers are also doing amazing things.
Work.
So you don't need to buy international brands.
It's expensive.
Some of them are expensive, some are not. If you compare Turkey, what you buy from Turkey designers, Turkey outfits and Nigerian designers, we have a lot that are doing affordable ones that you can fill in the gap with.
Immaculate Boy says there's blame to go around. Government make policy. The first thing citizens do is to look for loopholes to exploit that policy. What can't we just, why can't we just apply for dollars for BTA they use for travel rather than a round trip? Oh my God, I got so many, I missed them. Okay, then joking aside says diaspora remittances run in billions of dollars. Not providing affordable forex for students today will have an effect on our remittances in the future. Student forex in millions equals to remittances in billions. Good investment. He says, ban official rate is not benefiting anyone except their friends. The black market rates will come down if you do this. There's so many more.
Adedotu says, why can't we be communicating in our local languages? Temitope allows say, you say I should buy rice with stones. So I come back from work and I want to cook rice. I should start picking stones and dates first before cooking. Why don't they do it well? Let them pick stones. There are rice that don't have stones. I've been buying them and I've not been picking stones. So just find the good ones and the other ones will learn how to make it better. Okay.
So Osunobun says, the problem is that we're so used to blaming the government. We're blinded to what we contribute to the state of the country today. Nigerians hate to take responsibility. Absolutely. Every conversation on responsibility of the citizens always ends up in whataboutism.
This is very important. Iderake says, until Nigerians start disassociating themselves from government and recognizing that they are the government, things will never change.
I think that's good that you took that because someone here was saying to me that she's not the person is saying that he's or she's not government. Government are people in office and
I have to wrap up. And because time has, but I think I'd like to end with what Tope said earlier, which I thought was really, really instructive. We only vote the kind of people that we are. So I will vote a man who doesn't care about me because I don't care about my next door neighbor. I'm only focusing on me, myself, and my children. So if we begin to change, meaning that we make the choices that BC has made, you know, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. When you see, for example, Mr. John is running for office, and yes, he had a party for his daughter's wedding, and they had champagne, they had laces, they had everything. You realize that his values are different from your own values. So me, my own child's wedding, I did Ankara. I ordered only this, only Nigerian food. And I'm seeing that the man that is in office,
So that my vote. The next time he's running for office, you're not the person, because I already know who I am. I've refined myself to be a Nigerian patriot. You're not a patriot, I'm voting you out. And that's the power we must have. It might take a long time, but listen, we can do it one politician at a time. You knock them out as they go. And then we have a better Nigeria.
Change at a time. People only treat you the way you allow them to treat you.
Yeah, true. That's all we can take. We'll see you Monday. Tomorrow.
Tomorrow is Friday.
Tomorrow is Friday. See you then. Bye for now.
I know, it feels like Friday.